Hello and welcome to another episode of the AMP Podcast. This is episode 9 of the first season, our final episode of season 1, I should say, titled Home Sweet Home. The sponsor for this week's episode is Motto Mortgage. I also want to thank all of our key sponsors that have been with us through this first season, Vault Title, Griffith Insurance Group, and of course, Red One Realty. My name is James Minter with Buckeye Media Services, and joining me here around the table, we got Justin Humphreys of Humphreys Homes. We've got the Doctor of Real Estate, Mark Dandrea, and Mike Hall, which is part owner and broker with Red One Realty. More with him here in just a moment. The AMP Podcast, it is an extension of the AMP platform, which that exists as a training tool, a bucket of resources, if you will, as you've heard over the season so far. Like 23, 24, 25 different types of training tools that are poured into real estate agents so that they can become better marketers of real estate services and have the best shot to improve their business and be successful in their real estate business. The AMP Podcast and the AMP platform is exclusive to Red One Realty. It's available for Red One Realty agents, but it can be offered to others that are interested in possibly becoming a Red One Realty agent, or, as we've said in weeks and months past, if you are interested in the business, you want to find some time to sit down with either Justin or Mark, they will make that time happen at their location in Westerville, give you some insight as to what the industry looks like, what it might mean to you if you wanted to possibly transition from what you're doing into a real estate business, or, again, you're making a move from one broker to another. They can go through any and all of that. We'll have more details as we go on for the show today. Now, every week on the AMP Podcast, we are talking everything real estate, whether you're buying, you're selling, you're investing in real estate, you got a home, you want to flip, you're looking to hold, a little bit of all of that. But everything real estate will address that. Anything home. It could be, we'll talk staging, we'll talk roofing, we'll talk about landscaping, we'll talk about plumbing, we'll talk about the vendors that a true real estate professional has access to. We oftentimes talk about what it takes to be that resource to your friends and family, and everybody has you top of mind because they know that you have all the connections to all the vendors that they might need for anything home. And with the AMP Podcast, we talk a lot about life. All of our personal stuff, we usually try to filter in a few things each and every week so that you get a feel for who we are and how we live our lives, our families, all that kind of stuff, just people just like you that are listening to this show. So we do talk a lot about life and then anything and everything in between. Really, nothing is left off the table. Any given week, you might find something very different that you would not expect to hear on a show that talks about real estate. Again, our guest today is Mike Hall. He is part owner and broker with Red One Realty. We'll get to him here momentarily. But first, let's introduce you to our host of the AMP Podcast, Justin Humphreys of Humphreys Homes, and Mark Dandrea, the Doctor of Real Estate. We'll start with you, Justin.
I'm Justin Humphreys, Humphreys Homes at Red One Realty, also one of the AMP leaders here on our great team.
Doctor?
Mark Dandrea, the Doctor of Real Estate with Red One Realty.
Mike is our special guest today. You are obviously one of the co-founders of Red One Realty and a broker there, of course. Can you just give us a little insight about who you are, family, where you're from, how long you've been in Ohio, how long you've had Red One Realty, what that looks like, how many agents you're working with, etc.?
Well, wonderful. I've lived in Ohio all my life and will live here until I die, which is hopefully a long time from now. But overall, I think that Red One Realty was founded in 2019, and in 6 short years, we're now the second largest brokerage firm in Columbus, Ohio. We have over 900 agents, and we're rapidly growing, and I think it's really just the value. The value there with lots of technology, lots of support, lots of training, but not lots of fees is what really makes a difference for agents. And as we continue to grow, we really found that the agents needed a lot more help. And the agent mentorship platform really does that. It goes above and beyond to really help agents double, triple, quadruple their business with additional support.
Excellent. Again, Mike, thank you so much for being here. Truly appreciate it. Now, I mentioned earlier that Mark and Justin, and really for that matter, other coaches and leaders within the AMP platform. They will make themselves available to anyone and everyone that might be interested in becoming a real estate agent. But for Mark and Justin specifically, they take it one step further. If you're listening to the AMP podcast, maybe considering a career in real estate, maybe you're an agent with another broker, possibly looking to go over to Red One and possibly become a Red One Realty agent. Or you're looking to possibly audit one of the AMP platform classes or training sessions that they have available throughout the week, and we'll get to that even a little bit later. I just want to encourage you to reach out to Mark or Justin. As we've highlighted over the years, they're very accessible, sometimes maybe to a fault, but I know they have a passion for it. They take calls all the time, and more importantly, I see their heart, their willingness to try to help people get what they want to be successful in the real estate business, and for anyone that is considering a career in real estate. They just want to make themselves available, try to help you out along the way, and that's part of the magic that makes Red One Realty so special. So again, Mark, Justin, let's go a little bit deeper on some of your contact information. Mark, we'll start with you.
Mark Dandrea, the Doctor of Real Estate. You can reach me at 614-395-6275. Text or call me anytime. And my email address is drofrealestate1@gmail.com. Just a quick note. James, I searched the market for over 18 years to find a brokerage that would allow me and folks like Justin and Dana and Gina and Malika and Sheila coach, train, and mentor agents. And I could not find another brokerage that was set up in a similar manner as Red One. And when meeting Mike and Ken, it was immediately apparent to me that this was a brokerage that understood that support for agents was critical. And I'm just tickled to be a part of Red One Realty. So thank you.
Justin, your information, please, sir.
Yeah, you can the easiest way to reach me, you can call me or text me at 740-275-1277. And if you're interested to learn more about AMP, about the agent mentorship platform, you can go to agentmentorshipplatform.com and find more information and get in touch with us leaders.
Excellent. Thank you. And again, I want to encourage all listeners who got questions about any and all that, please reach out to Mark and Justin. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. All right, again, this week's episode is Home Sweet Home, sponsored by Motto Mortgage, along with our other key sponsors for the year, Vault Title, Griffith Insurance Group, and Red One Realty, who is also the exclusive sponsor for the AMP platform. The AMP podcast is an extension of the AMP platform. A lot of the information that we share here is really just an extension of everything that's talked about during the agent mentorship platform training and all the other courses and modules that they go over with every week throughout the year. Want more details on all of that? Let me just direct you to the website on that. Just go to agentmentorshipplatform.com. That'll give you a good springboard of information, and then certainly reach out to Justin and Mark. Now, Mike, as a guest, I always like to kind of start off the show, or on the front end of the show, start talking about some personal things. This week's episode is titled Home Sweet Home. So I want to encourage everybody to just for a moment, think about your first home that you grew up in, the first home that you have great memories of. And I'm going to go Justin, then Mark, then Mike. So Mike, I'll give you some time to think about it. But think about that first home, what it was that you really liked. Was it the inside, the outside, the basement, the attic, your bedroom, the neighborhood? What were the things about that first home that you remember growing up in that you remember fondly, or you still think fondly of, that you had some great memories from in that first home? Justin?
Well, I grew up in Steubenville, Ohio, over on the eastern border, and
Dean Martin,
that's one of our claim to fame, is one of the only ones. But the house I grew up in was a green Cape Cod. I can remember every single room. And it seemed huge to me back then. I drive by it now and I'm like, man, I can't believe that's the same house. But what I loved most about it was we had an enormous backyard. My mom and dad had built a nice tree house for us out there up in the tree. And our neighborhood we had tons and tons of kids in our neighborhood. So it was always we were just always outside playing. So, but yeah, the inside thing for that house would be, it's tiny looking back at it now, but when I was growing up, it felt huge. And I had such a great outdoor exterior area to play and have fun in it as well. So.
Mark, how about you?
140 East Carlton Road. So if anybody in the area listens to this.
Thanks for sharing. Mark?
1527 Elmore Avenue, 43224. I grew up in the North Linden area. I find it interesting and karmatic that I also grew up in a Cape Cod. It was not a Cape Cod. It was built as a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. Might have been 750 square feet. But my father and a buddy of his finished the attic for my brother and I to have as a bedroom. So we had the biggest bedroom in the house. I will never forget this. As a kid, I thought everybody's windows froze up in the wintertime like ours did, because when they finished that space up there wasn't any insulation.
Right.
These weren't HVAC contractors, so they didn't run any heating, and we didn't have air conditioning, didn't run any heat runs. The heat in our bedroom for my brother and I floated up from a square register vent that they had cut in the middle of the floor. So in the middle of the winter, we would certainly go over there and kind of sit by that and get a little bit warmer. But again, that was just our childhood. I love that house, still love it today. Drive by it all the time. I had an opportunity very early in my real estate career to buy that house. I regret not buying our childhood home. So anyway,
I've always said that if the opportunity came up, or if I saw that house on the market or anything, we would buy it as a rental and just keep it for sentimental sakes. What I would give to just walk through it one more time.
I did get to walk through our house.
I would love to do that.
It was being rehabbed at the time.
Yeah.
What was your phone number? 614-268-3426.
740-264-2565.
There you go.
All right, Mike, your turn. That first home you have fond memories about.
Yeah, I grew up in Portsmouth, Ohio, and it was on Maybert Road. And what I liked the most about it was it backed up to woods.
Oh,
so there are obviously lots of kids on Maybert Road, but we were able to go play in the woods. Absolutely, the most fondest memories were building clubhouses and things like that in the woods. And then fast forward to today, in our forever home that we built, it backs up to woods as well. So that's really stuck with me, and being able to give my kids that same ability.
It's kind of funny. Do you remember the address and the phone number?
It is on Maybert Road. It was 740-548-0224, but I don't remember the house address.
Yeah, I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, 2403 Franklin Avenue, 502-448-0826. I had never said that number until you just threw that number out there, and then it triggered just like that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely crazy. Our house was 980 square feet, which felt huge.
That is huge.
Right.
And it was only 2 bedrooms. But the downstairs, the basement, which was fun, we had a crawl space that went to the outside. I didn't think about this until later years, thankfully, because my bed was right above the outside crawl space. It could go into our basement, up the steps, and into our kitchen. So it kind of freaked me out after I thought about it. But growing up, we had so many different things. We had a nice big backyard. The dog house we had for our dog, Rocky, I could crawl up on the roof of the garage, which was great when we were playing BB guns and cowboys and Indians, because I could really hide behind the basketball goal.
Sure.
And so a lot of fun stuff that we did like that. But yeah, the crawl space, if I ever got locked out of the house, or if I wanted to sneak into the house, or when my parents weren't home, I could still get in I was a lot smaller then. I could crawl space into the basement, up to the steps, and go into my house, which didn't freak me out as a kid. But as I got older, I thought, man, think about who could have snuck into my house when I was a kid. But it was different times then.
None of us, I don't remember us really locking our doors a lot back in the day anyway.
Right.
So I think they would have probably been able to get in.
We all sound old. You guys all talked about woods. So do you remember the trucks or Jeeps that used to have the big fans on the back of them? They'd pull in and they would back up to the woods and blow mosquito repellent into the woods. Did they do that in your woods?
Oh, yeah.
They did not in Portsmouth.
No, I didn't see that either.
We used to run through that stuff because we were nuts. Yeah, we just loved it. Thought it was the greatest thing ever. Big white fog, just, they told us to stay out of the woods. We'd go in there immediately.
Of course, we all would, right? Again, thanks for listening to the AMP Podcast. It is an extension of the AMP program, which is exclusively through Red One Realty. This week's episode is Home Sweet Home, being sponsored by Motto Mortgage. Also want to thank our seasonal sponsors, Vault Title, Griffith Insurance Group, and Red One Realty. Now, the AMP Podcast is set up to hopefully educate you, inform, educate, entertain. It is our hope that the information that we share with you every week gives you better insight, not only to improving your real estate business, but if you're looking at buying, selling, investing in real estate, whether it's a home or something else, or buying a house to flip or an Airbnb or looking to hold a property to build your portfolio, a little bit of all of that. If you've been listening, you know that we cover all those bases. If you're a marketer of real estate services, you know, we talk a lot about, the marketing tools that you need, your sphere of influence, the vendors that you work with, becoming a resource for your clients, knowing how to hit those touch points throughout the year. So when you think about the AMP podcast, it's everything real estate, anything home, a lot about life, and anything and everything else in between. Our guest today is Mike Hall, one of the owners of Red One Realty. Also, he is obviously a broker of Red One Realty. But Mike, we gave some information earlier. I'd like to go a little bit deeper. What were those things that got you involved in real estate? What led you to become a broker? Obviously, wanting to have your own brokerage firm. So now that you have Red One Realty, what are those things that you thought of early on, or maybe still today, that helped to build that culture of what you really want to make Red One Realty stand out above the rest? Obviously, the AMP platform is one of those things. You got all these wonderful tools. You got coaches, you got leaders that are helping to build the future generations of real estate agents and marketers of real estate services. So yeah, let's just hit on a little bit of all of that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I've now been in real estate for about 19 years and got my broker's license about 11 years ago. So stopped stealing real estate in 2014. And for me, the passion is helping agents versus helping buyers and sellers. So I feel like I can be very approachable and knowledgeable and help people stay in the real estate business. Overall, there's about an 87% failure rate in real estate, and we're able to significantly get that down by making sure that we have programs like AMP, making sure there's lots of training, making sure that we're very approachable and helpful. And I think what really makes us different is we feel like we work for the agent because they pay us. So I feel like the agents really feel at home here. It's down to earth. It's not a corporate feel. We just want to be out there helping agents every day. And I think that shows through.
Yeah, I would agree. One of the things we have here on the sheet is family atmosphere. And Mike, you and Heather are partners in real estate, partners in business. Same thing with Ken and Sam. And there really is a family atmosphere at the brokerage. It doesn't feel quite as corporate or quite as, regimented as maybe other places might. You guys do a good job of putting on the holiday extravaganzas that you do. I saw the Easter decorations at the office yesterday. Seems like the bunny's getting ready to come. You do Halloween, you do Christmas, the happy hours. There's a lot of different examples of how you guys have created and maintained a real family atmosphere, even though we're getting up to 1,000 agents now, and it's a lot more than it used to be.
It's just a big family.
Yeah, it's still maintaining that family feel, which I appreciate in a brokerage a lot.
What drove you to be a broker, Mike? You said you made the transition, you got your license, and then you became a broker and decided to assist agents more than assist buyers and sellers. What was the final decision maker for you there?
I saw lots of other agents not being successful in this business. So after they went through Hondros and paid for that and paid their board dues, they really just weren't getting the training and the support they needed. And I think whenever they take a look at it, they were somewhat afraid to ask their broker for questions. And to me, that's just scary. I want someone to ask me questions because I don't want lawsuits possibly later. So I think that is really what did it. Is I knew that as a broker, I could really help people build their career. And there's some brokerage out there that won't take new agents. And I just dislike that. I said, hey, I can take new agents. I can help them build their business. I can make sure that they're going to be successful here and transition their career.
And Mike, I don't know if you want to throw out your time or availability, or if you just leave that up to the other coaches and leaders. But if you want to share any of your availability of time there at the office, feel free to do so.
We almost always have someone at the office. I don't specifically have set hours. I normally meet by appointment, but every day of the week, one of our brokers, one of our managers, someone from AMP is always there at the office to be able to just help agents who stop in.
Very good. And Mike, you guys have been there 2019, so like 6 years. You got close to 1,000 agents. What are the things that you have seen in the industry, maybe even just through Red One Realty? When you have other agents that are coming to you or people that are getting into the business, what are some of those things that you are hearing from them or things that you see within the industry that have changed from when you got started, or maybe since you started Red One Realty, or with where you guys are today?
I think the biggest thing I see is the ease of technology. Whenever, 5-10 years ago, you had to do your own Facebook ad or your own Google pay-per-click ad. And realtors are in a people business. It needs to be them networking with other people. So to be able to streamline all of those things with tools like Bold Trail, with some of the resources that we provide, it lets them quickly and easily get through a lot of that technology so that they can go out there and network and build their sphere.
Very good.
James, just real quick, sorry to interrupt, but Justin and I go into the office quite a bit, and I'll be sitting up in the office. I'd call it my office. It's not. The office is available to anybody, but Mike and Heather will pull up. They always pull up as a team. Ken and Samantha will pull up. They always pull up as a team. Michelle Brooks, one of our brokers, is there on Monday mornings, holding office hours. Bob Petty is there on Fridays, holding office hours. Mark Hutchison is the office manager. He's there to give advice. He's a very experienced agent. We have Survive and Thrive and Boot Camp. That's a critical piece when, every agent gets through Hondros, as Mike mentioned earlier. They get their license. They're sponsored by Red One. They show up at the office and say, now what? It's a very organized brokerage. Boot Camp, Survive and Thrive, the agent mentorship platform, 4 brokers available to you basically 24/7. So it's just a tremendous amount of support. And you go to red1agent.com, and as an agent with Red One, if you chose to, you could teach yourself the business in 3 or 4 days if you just follow all of the links to all of the technology that Mike was talking about earlier. It's just an outstanding brokerage.
Yeah, it's multi-layered support.
Yeah.
Anytime that you need it. Also the chat, you guys have the chat bot as well, which, if you sometimes instead of texting or emailing, you jump on the chat bot, you get an answer almost instantly. We've got the Facebook chat, which I see is exploding with support and topics and questions that come up on there every single day when I monitor it. So it really is. I think the support and the availability is really unmatched. It certainly is. Mark talked a little bit about how he found Red One, and my story is kind of similar to, I'm sure, a lot of people out there. We were with when I first got licensed, we were with a brokerage where the support was lacking, the mentorship was lacking, the training was lacking, and shortly was able to identify that and say, hey, this isn't going to work out. My mentor at the time and I started looking around, and we dug into Red One Realty a little bit, and it just turned out that it was really provided everything that we wanted and needed. And I've been with Red One since 2019, shortly after it formed, and I couldn't imagine being at another brokerage because, Mike, you talked about keeping more agents in the business by keeping fees low. Every January we have our board dues, we have our E&O, we have all these things that kind of hit at the same time that Christmas hits, at the same time your mortgage is hitting. So Red One Realty, those fees, I think, are a big part. The fees that agents experience at other brokerages on top of what I just described, I think are a big part of why 87% of them fail, because the fees out there are enormous at these other traditional brokerages that are out there. You got monthly fees, you got office fees, you got fees to print, fees to use the office. Red One Realty keeps their fees low and keeps the support top notch at the same time, which is a unique kind of mixture there that really helps agents a lot.
And Mike mentioned it earlier, but he's too kind and he's not willing to say it exactly like it is. What he hinted at is that there are a lot of brokerages that, for whatever reason, are uncomfortable working with new agents who are not what they call full-time. So it's either real estate all the time or it's not.
I wasn't. I surely wasn't.
Yeah, Red One Realty will help you achieve your vision in real estate. And everybody has family, faith, even if it's in yourself, social life, and many agents have work outside of real estate. That is not the definition of a part-time real estate agent. Real estate is all the time, hard work, and Red One supports that, and that's unusual.
And also, it's like how people say, I don't want to work with new agents. Well, everybody's got to start somewhere. I mean, how does an agent become experienced if brokers out there are turning them away because they're new?
Yeah.
It's,
I don't get it.
The chicken or the egg.
every one of these experienced top producers was a new agent, and
Right.
someone gave them a chance when they were starting.
All right, we are up against our first break for this week's episode, Home Sweet Home. When we come back, we are going to talk about action steps, action plans, things that you can do as a real estate professional, as a marketer of real estate services, those things that are going to help you stay laser focused, help you become better at becoming that industry expert. It is the AMP Podcast, an extension of the AMP platform, exclusively available through Red One Realty. Every week, every episode, we cover a little bit about everything from real estate, anything and everything real estate, buying, selling, investing, holding, building your portfolio. We talk about anything home, staging, roofing, landscaping, making those connections with vendors, being that sphere of influence within your family and friends and obviously within the community so that you are viewed as the number one source for anything home as that expert. Talk about life, a lot about life, and anything and everything else in between. If you want more specific details about the AMP program, I encourage you to go to the website, agentmentorshipplatform.com. Our sponsors this week for the this week's episode, Motto Mortgage. Our seasonal sponsors, Griffith Insurance Group, Vault Title, and Red One Realty. When we come back, action steps, important things that are very helpful for you to be successful in the real estate business.
The Griffith Insurance Group. They're more than just a family business. They're your family safety net. With over 34 years of combined experience, Scott and Jason know everyone is different. That's why they take the time to understand individual situations and craft their coverage that gives you peace of mind. Whether it's protecting your home, your vehicle, or your business, they're here to ensure that you're covered. At the Griffith Insurance Group, they're not just a father-son team. They're trusted partners in safeguarding your future. Experience the difference of a family-focused approach. Contact the Griffith Insurance Group today and let them help you secure your tomorrow. 740-936-4686 is the phone number, and online at griffithinsurance.net. That's griffithinsurance.net.
Red One Realty, an independent brokerage founded in 2019, is redefining what it means to support agents. With nearly 1,000 agents already on board, Red One Realty offers an unbeatable combination of value and opportunity, helping agents close more deals while keeping more of their hard-earned commissions. Red One Realty sets itself apart by its commitment to exceptional training, cutting-edge technology, and unmatched support. From intensive boot camp training to Survive and Thrive training series and the Next Level Agent Mentorship Program, they provide the tools and guidance to help agents grow their business. Plus, with the multiple layers of management always ready to assist, you'll never feel like you're navigating the real estate world alone. Discover why so many agents are choosing Red One Realty to take their career to new heights at joinredonerealty.com. That's joinredonerealty.com.
Hi guys, today's episode is sponsored by Vault Title. At Vault Title, they know your home is more than just four walls. It's your investment, your future, and your dream. With our dedicated team of experts, we provide secure, reliable title and closing services that protect your most valuable asset. From the first handshake to the final signature, Vault Title is here every step of the way, making sure your closing is seamless and stress-free. Vault Title, protecting your dream, safeguarding your future. When it comes to title services, trust that team that puts you first. Vault-title.com. That's VAULT-TITLE.com.
All right, welcome back in. It is the AMP Podcast, an extension of the AMP platform, the Agent Mentorship Platform. And you can learn more about that, get more details online, cover some of the stuff that you hear on the podcast every week, but also even a little bit more details and some contact information for you. Just go online to agentmentorshipplatform.com. The AMP Podcast is supported and sponsored by Griffith Insurance Group, Vault Title, and Red One Realty. Also today, Motto Mortgage sponsoring this episode, which is Home Sweet Home. Our guest today, Mike Hall, one of the owners of Red One Realty, of course, a realtor and a broker himself. Joining me around the table each and every week, you got Mark Dandrea, the Doctor of Real Estate, Justin Humphreys of Humphreys Homes. My name is James Minter with Buckeye Media Services. As we go on to our next segment, which is Action Plan, these are action items, action plans for AMP agents, Red One Realty agents, or real estate agents that are listening perhaps to the AMP podcast. Anyone in the industry out there, there's items that we cover that help you to improve as a real estate professional, as a marketer of real estate services. These are things you want to make sure that are in place, properly executed. A lot of them are designed not just to make you successful, but in most cases, to protect you and your clients, of course. So with that said, let's go, Mark, let's have you kick things off for us, sir.
Sure. James, we wanted to talk about contract strategies. And this is to Justin and I and the folks on the AMP platform. I'm sure Mike also feels the same way. This is an interesting topic because we have fiduciary responsibilities to our clients. Accountability. I'm old school, so I'm going to go through the old school way. Accountability, confidentiality, obedience, as long as we're not asked to do anything illegal, loyalty, and full disclosure. So if I have a buying client, I care about my buyer. I don't care about the seller or the selling agent. If I have a seller, I care about my seller. I don't care about the buying agent or the buyer. But when it comes to contract strategies, our job is to put an offer in front of a seller that they cannot say no to. That's tough to do sometimes because our contracts are written in such a way by the Columbus Board of Realtors and the Columbus Board and the Bar Association to protect our buying clients. They are certainly buyer-centric. So some of the contract strategies that we deploy in the AMP membership platform are to perhaps give up some of those protections. If it's a home that your buyer loves, and you know that, your job, because nobody's happy unless something gets sold and something gets bought, and the seller gets paid and everybody else gets paid, your job is to put that home in contract. So if your client loves it, we do a lot of training on the AMP platform about the various terms that are contained within a contract to give yourself the best opportunity to put that home in contract. We're very fond of saying, put your best foot forward. Yes, it's a negotiation, but the last thing that you want to do, and I'll end with this, the last thing you want to do, you and your buyer are on a team, and you make an offer, and let's say it's open for, called the duration, it's open for 24 hours. The next day, that selling agent's going to give you a call, and they're going to have one of three responses to you. Yes, we took your deal. Great. Everybody's dancing. Or two, not likely, but possible. We like most of what you said, but we're going to counter one or two of your terms. Okay, that's good. We're still in the game. Three, the answer could be, no, we took somebody else's deal. And our job, truly, as agents, is to ensure that our buyers feel as comfortable and happy and emotionally successful with that third answer as the first two. We want to put our best foot forward. The last feeling you want to have if the answer is no is, wow, we could have, would have, or should have done something else. So we train a lot on contract strategies. I won't necessarily get into the details, but if you want more details, get a hold of Justin or I or one of the other leaders. We'd be glad to talk to you about a successful way to get more of your offers accepted by sellers.
It's interesting how those contract strategies change as well, because I got in the business in 2018.
Sure.
And the market then was kind of how it is now, but we went through that 2021, 2022 period where a lot of our strategies had to change if we wanted to get people in contract.
Yes.
And now things have thankfully kind of gone back to what I would consider a little bit more normal as far as when we're writing our contracts. But those strategies change, and it's a dynamic business, and we try to change with them and make sure that we're doing what's appropriate to get our people in contract and protect them, like you said.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and just to dovetail on that, as a broker, part of my responsibilities is to take agent complaints. So when our listing agent goes out there and lists it, and there's multiple offers, sometimes that seller will just take one, as you mentioned. And I get complaints from other buyer's agents who said, well, they didn't give me the opportunity to put in my highest and best offer. And I've gotten so busy now, I'm just blunt. I'm like, yes, you did. You chose not to. And I kind of move on. But at the end of the day, put your best foot forward. If your client says, this is my dream home, help them get it.
Yeah. What Mark said at the end there about I'd say I use your exact same verbiage when I talk to my clients as well. If they say no to this offer, do we feel like we made the best offer we could, or are you going to be rolling around at night on your pillows saying, man, we should have bumped that up a couple couple thousand or whatever the case might be. So
They should be able to say to you, there's not another thing I would have changed
Right.
about that offer, Mark. Thank you for putting it in. Let's go on and get the next one. That's what your client should have, that kind of confidence.
yeah, and one thing and any agents out there listening to this, keep this in mind. One thing I talk when we talk about offer price, when you're going up and down $1,000 on an offer price, you're affecting your monthly mortgage by about $4.28.
Yeah.
Most buyers don't know that or don't think about that. And when you say that to them, okay, they want us to come up $3,000. That's going to be $12 a month extra that we're going to be paying. When you think about it in that scope, it changes things a little bit.
Well, let's do the math on that. $12 a month times 12. Mike, $244. Divide that by 365 days and see what you come up with. It's probably about 43 cents a day.
Right.
I don't want to miss a house for a client over 43 cents a day. And if we describe it properly,
Yeah.
your buyer doesn't want to miss it either.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've bought a lot of cars for a cup of coffee. Like, it's only going to cost you the difference of a cup of coffee.
That's
and you
right.
need to go up to the next level, right?
Now that's
I've bought
pure
a lot
sales.
of cars. Yeah. But no, you bring up a very valid point. There's a lot of those things. But see, it's the knowledge that you have and what to look for and helping them to understand that and to break it down into simple terms. As we continue on with our action plans, Justin, for you have something that's dealing with real estate reviews.
Yeah. So one thing I have implemented, 2024 was a challenging year, I think, for a lot of real estate agents. The market was in a peculiar state. People were uncertain. A lot of stuff was falling out of contract. There was, it was just a very challenging market. And it forced me to kind of take a look at my strategies and systems and see where I'm weak and where I'm strong. And one of the places I found that my business was a little bit weak was staying in a flow state with my sphere that maybe I hadn't closed a deal with in a couple of years, or, people that I had a good experience with, but I maybe wasn't on top of them enough to stay top of mind. So one thing I started doing was this annual real estate review, where I will invite a client out to coffee or a quick lunch, and I'll bring a packet with me. And in the packet's got a CMA, which is comparable market analysis, that gives them an updated value, currently their estimated market value of their home. It'll also have a net to seller sheet from Vault Title from their website. You can use it through their website to generate that tool. And that net to seller sheet gives a really solid breakdown of exactly how much equity they have in their home if they were to sell it today, what they would walk away with. And then the third thing is just kind of a small local neighborhood market update for their local market around their house as well. So I use that as an excuse to get in front of a client, have a cup of coffee, have a great conversation, give them a little bit of value as well. We want to make it valuable. We don't want to waste their time. So I've conducted about 8 of those so far this year, and everybody has reached out to thank me. It's gotten me back into what I call flow state with those people that I closed the 2018, 2019 people that I closed years and years ago. They get my newsletter, they see my social media posts, they get, these touches from me, but this gives me an excuse to get back into what I call flow state with them. And I think it's been going great. And already a couple of them have talked about, hey, my sister's looking, and we're thinking about maybe selling or buying another house in the next year or so. So anybody out there that is looking for strategies to stay in that flow state with their sphere, I highly recommend the annual real estate review as an excuse to do that.
What Justin just described on the AMP platform is what we are fond of saying, which is your job starts at closing. It truly does. I mean, we're anything home for these folks. We're their real estate agents for life. And staying in touch with people is critical. Your client should be able to call you for anything home, basement to roof. You should have the answer for them. They get a lot of mail. Things go wrong with their house, or they need repairs done. That's what Justin's describing is, look, your job starts at closing. We don't move on. We're going to remember them forever, and we hope they remember us.
Well, and also, you go to the doctor for yearly checkup.
Yeah.
You go to the dentist for, semi-annual checkups. It's kind of the same thing with that. You want to know what kind of shape your house is in and what your value is looking like. And every one of these people that I've had this annual real estate review with have been blown away by the
equity,
and by the appreciation that their house has accumulated over the years too.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
You mentioned excuse. It's not an excuse. It's just fun to get together with your clients.
Yeah.
And like we've said in the past several weeks, months, when you're working with clients, just trying to find opportunities just to be in front of them, genuinely to be in front of them, to hang out, check in on them, see how they're doing, whether you're doing a a real estate review, or as we've talked about, send them something that's the football schedule for the year, or just being that resource when it comes to vendors, having, your Rolodex available to your friends that might be looking for that roof or that landscape or that stager, plumber, whatever it might be. I mean, as a real estate professional, marketer of real estate services, you are connected to those vendors. Like we said, that Michael J. Fox movie, Love of Money or something like that, where he's the concierge and he's always got the tickets or whatever. Hey, here you go. And everybody just goes to him because they know he's connected. Same thing for you, those listening that are real estate agents in your real estate business or as marketers of real estate, just to be that resource, that connector for your clients. Mike, anything else you have to add outside of what Justin and Mark have shared?
I think the key is systematically managing that sphere. So when you take action, you need to put it in your CRM or your database that you did things. I think a lot of agents feel like I'm bothering them or feeling like a salesperson. And I know I'm going to take care of my aunt better than everyone else, but I got to stay top of mind with her. So as you do these annual reviews and drop off magnets and take them out for coffee, being able to put it in there. And if you're not contacting them personally without technology about 12 times a year, you may not be top of mind. And some new agent who advertises on Zillow may be helping your aunt and doing a worse job than you because you don't systematically manage them.
All right. Good stuff, gentlemen. We are up against another break. When we come back, we are going to have our agent spotlight. Also, Ask the Coach segment. These are questions from the field. A lot of Red One Realty agents. It's funny. We joke about it all the time. But the coaches and the leaders, they're on standby almost 24/7. Answering questions of those that are either new to the industry or struggling with something, maybe in the field, something unique or unusual pops up. They can put it in to the chat feature, get a response, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. But it's all part of the Ask the Coach segment. Also, got something pertaining to our title for today's episode, Home Sweet Home, which I will propose to Mark, Justin, and Mike as well. The AMP Podcast, an extension of the AMP platform. You can get more information about all that just by going online to agentmentorshipplatform.com. And although the AMP platform is exclusively through Red One Realty, if you are a real estate agent out there not tied in currently with Red One Realty, interested in possibly auditing or sitting in on one of the training sessions to see what it is that they do, how they do things differently, I'll encourage you to reach out to Justin or Mark to schedule that sit-down time and possibly come in and audit or check out one of the sessions of the AMP platform throughout the week. Our sponsors this week for this particular episode, Home Sweet Home, is Motto Mortgage. Our seasonal sponsors, Griffith Insurance Group, Vault Title, and Red One Realty. Thanks for listening and being a part of the AMP Podcast. We'll be right back.
Hi, guys. Today's episode is sponsored by Vault Title. At Vault Title, they know your home is more than just four walls. It's your investment, your future, and your dream. With our dedicated team of experts, we provide secure, reliable title and closing services that protect your most valuable asset. From the first handshake to the final signature, Vault Title is here every step of the way, making sure your closing is seamless and stress-free. Vault Title, protecting your dream, safeguarding your future. When it comes to title services, trust that team that puts you first. Vault-title.com. That's VAULT-TITLE.com.
Red One Realty, an independent brokerage founded in 2019, is redefining what it means to support agents. With nearly 1,000 agents already on board, Red One Realty offers an unbeatable combination of value and opportunity, helping agents close more deals while keeping more of their hard-earned commissions. Red One Realty sets itself apart by its commitment to exceptional training, cutting-edge technology, and unmatched support. From intensive boot camp training to Survive and Thrive training series and the Next Level Agent Mentorship Program, they provide the tools and guidance to help agents grow their business. Plus, with the multiple layers of management always ready to assist, you'll never feel like you're navigating the real estate world alone. Discover why so many agents are choosing Red One Realty to take their career to new heights at joinredonerealty.com. That's joinredonerealty.com.
The Griffith Insurance Group. They're more than just a family business. They're your family safety net. With over 34 years of combined experience, Scott and Jason know everyone is different. That's why they take the time to understand individual situations and craft their coverage that gives you peace of mind. Whether it's protecting your home, your vehicle, or your business, they're here to ensure that you're covered. At the Griffith Insurance Group, they're not just a father-son team. They're trusted partners in safeguarding your future. Experience the difference of a family-focused approach. Contact the Griffith Insurance Group today and let them help you secure your tomorrow. 740-936-4686 is the phone number, and online at griffithinsurance.net. That's Griffithinsurance.net.
All right, welcome back in. It is the AMP podcast, an extension of the AMP platform. You can learn more about that online just by going to agentmentorshipplatform.com. With the AMP podcast, we talk everything about real estate, whether you're buying, selling, looking to flip a house, looking to hold it for investment purposes, anything home, roofing, staging, plumbing, landscaping, buying, selling a home, being that real estate professional, that marketer of real estate services and everything that's involved with that. We touch base on every week about just life things and anything and everything in between. We cover a full range of topics each and every week here on the AMP podcast. Your host every week, Mike Dandrea, the Doctor of Real Estate, Justin Humphreys of Humphreys Homes. Today, our guest is Mike Hall. Mike Hall, one of the owners of Red One Realty. Your partner in that is Ken Fairchild, I know. But as Mark and Justin have alluded to in all the episodes, really, you know, there's other team players, other coaches, other leaders all involved, and I thought we just might want to take a moment to acknowledge those individuals.
Absolutely. There's Dana Kitchen, Sheila Howe, Malika Smith, Gina Warner, and of course my buddy Justin. Who did I miss?
That you didn't miss anybody, but you know, each of the leaders brings a unique skill set and perspective to the leadership team on AMP. We've got Malika Smith, who's we've got the doctor who is, overall, he touches all the bases. He's good at everything. Great at, in my opinion, what he excels at is the one-on-one and the coaching and the philosophy behind real estate is really what the value that I get out of my meetings and conversations with Mark. With Malika Smith, we've got our investment expert, whether it's rehabbing or flipping or buy and hold strategies. Malika's on top of all that. We've got Sheila Howe, who is a very successful businesswoman in the corporate world, who has now brought that skill set to real estate and to our AMP team. Marketing strategies, interpersonal communication. She's great with that kind of stuff. We've got Dana Kitchen, who is a branding expert, also incredible with the open houses and client touches and way to stay wholeheartedly connected with your sphere. We've got Gina Warner with almost as much experience in the business as you, Mark, right? She's 27 years.
She's outstanding.
She was a broker of her own with a large successful team down south of Columbus who joined Red One Realty and joined AMP. Did I miss anybody?
Nope. Talk about yourself. I'll talk about you. We have Justin Humphreys, who started with a little boutique brokerage, and lead generation is a big deal. Prospecting and lead generation is a big deal in our business. And Justin started his career with a brokerage who would pay for leads. And it was his job now he said earlier, not a lot of training, not a lot of support. It was his job to take the lead and run with it. So let me give you some stats and then I'll shut up about this because Justin's head is swelling as I'm speaking.
I see it.
It's big
you
enough
can
already.
see it, can't you? The average conversion on a typical lead generation platform is 3%, between 1 and 3. Let's call it 3. So 3 out of 100 people you connect with, you're going to be able to successfully assist them in a real estate transaction. Justin had that up to the 12 to 15% range. He's extremely personable. All he wants to do is be of assistance. So he's very, very, very good in real estate. He is a dear friend and brings a hell of a skill set to real estate. So kudos to Justin.
Thanks, Mark.
And Justin, we're going to stay with you. Those of you listening, you want to get in contact with either Justin, Mark, or Mike for anything about Red One Realty, anything about real estate, interested in possibly becoming a real estate agent or a marketer of real estate services, or you want to audit or come in and observe one of the training sessions through the Agent Mentorship platform, you can reach out to one of these 3 gentlemen. Justin, let's start with you first.
Yeah, Justin Humphreys, Humphreys Homes at Red One Realty and the AMP team. You can reach me really easily at my cell phone, 740-275-1277. You want to learn more about AMP, go to agentmentorshipplatform.com.
And then Mark?
Mark Dandrea, the doctor of real estate with Red One Realty, the founder of AMP, 614-395-6275. And you can also email me at doctorofrealestate, the numeral 1 at gmail.com. And it's spelled out DOCTOROFREALESTATE, numeral 1 at gmail.com.
And Mike?
Yeah, they can reach out anytime. It's brokermikehall@gmail.com. Also, my cell phone is 614-937-4162. And for my latest content, follow me on YouTube. It's just at Mike Hall Coaching.
Thank you. A lot of the information you hear on the AMP podcast every week you can find online at agentmentorshipplatform.com. That includes some of these classes that you might want to audit or sit in on just to get a feel for the type of training that goes on at Red One Realty. The AMP platform is exclusively available through Red One Realty. But if you're listening and you're not in real estate yet and interested in possibly pursuing that as a career, becoming a marketer of real estate services or a real estate professional, and maybe or perhaps you're a real estate agent with another broker and you're wanting to possibly consider coming over to Red One Realty and working with them, I just want to encourage you to reach out to Mark, Justin, have those conversations. I promise you it will be time well spent. All right, we are teeing up our Artist Spotlight and Ask the Coach segment. Before we get to that, I do want to tie in another question as it relates to this week's episode topic, home, sweet home. I want you to think back for a moment, gentlemen, what you did with the area kids while you were growing up in your neighborhood. Street ball, Cowboys and Indians. Did you have a secret hideout? Did you have a clubhouse? Was there somebody's house you always hung out at and played games? Whatever that might be. Take a moment, think about that. I'm going to kind of go in a different order. I'm going to go Mark, then Mike, and then I'll follow that up with Justin. Again, what you remember about your childhood, in your neighborhood, your first home, what you did with the neighborhood kids.
Oh, Mike has already stolen it, so I'm not going to go there. It was the woods thing. We used to have a blast there. In the neighborhood, here's what I remember from childhood, and I'm going to date myself. I'm 63. I recall we'd get home from school, and we'd either go over to the Borges' house or the Casagrandes or the Stoffers or the Callahans and play basketball or football, depending on what time of year it is. And all of these houses were probably within, I'd say, a quarter mile of our house. The furthest we might have gone away is the Casagrandes. James, my father, when we were all very young, taught us all how to whistle and whistle loudly. I'm not kidding. There was traffic noise. I mean, it was a neighborhood. I swear that when my dad whistled, no matter how far away we were, no matter what game we were playing, we would hear it and we would tell all of our friends, it's time to go, because that was the whistle for dinner.
It's so funny you say that.
Yeah.
My dad did the exact same thing.
And if you didn't get your dusty rear end home when you heard that whistle, I don't recall a time when my father had to go out, start walking the streets and find us where we were. We always heard that, and we got our rear ends home for dinner.
Yeah.
Mike, how about you?
Yeah, so there was a large vine in the woods, and we would swing on the vine, and you would think we'd land in water or something like that, but no, at the bottom, there's just ground, except for to the left, and there's thorn bushes there. In retrospect, we should have probably got rid of those, but it made it a little bit more fun. So you tried to swing to the right, but it didn't always work out that way.
Swinging from vines.
It's nobody's going to know what I'm talking about because nobody knows the geography of Steubenville. But I grew up on East Carlton, and our neighborhood had tons of kids. And then there was another neighborhood adjacent to us called F's Lane. And in the middle, there were these kind of like a triangular shaped pieces of like little fields, I guess you'd say. And we would play, they were perfect baseball fields, impromptu baseball fields. So we would play baseball, we would play tackle football in the big field right across the street from our house. And growing up in a small town, you said the farthest you'd go is a block or two. I mean, we would really, I'm 30, I'll be 36 this year. Maybe I'm just bragging by saying this, but I feel like people my age and older, we caught the last swing of that era where people would stay out until the street lights came on. We weren't engulfed in entertainment and social media and technology and stuff like that. I didn't get a cell phone until I was 15, so we still got a taste of that old school kind of upbringing, which I really appreciate. So all those same stories that these guys have told out until the street lights were on, our neighborhood was really, and the adults in our neighborhood knew that, and they appreciated it, and they looked out for us and made sure we weren't getting in too much trouble, made sure we were safe. So it was a great place to grow up.
For us, we played a game called Hot Box in the streets with cars and everything, where we would just step aside every time a car came through, but we would play that. But probably the most dangerous thing, and I'm surprised we never broke more windows, no one lost an eye. We would literally play cowboys and Indians without bows and arrows, but everybody using BB guns.
Yeah, we did too.
To shoot everybody, so you knew when you got hit.
That's for sure.
And we always said don't shoot above the neck.
Right.
But that didn't matter when you're shooting from on top of a garage behind a basketball goal at somebody that's coming around the corner of the house and you're shooting at them. That bullet can fly, that BB could fly
so
anywhere.
Much trouble for this.
I know.
That's just the way it is.
But that's what it was when we grew up, right? All right. Just a little bit of fun. It is Home Sweet Home, Episode 9, our season finale with special guest Mike Hall. As we move into our next segment, this is the Agent Spotlight, sponsored by Vault Title. And we've got 2 agents that we want to highlight today. And I'll start with Mark.
Christian Yarhouse. Christian has been with Red One probably for 6 to 8 months. That's from memory. Christian comes from a smaller town, certainly getting into real estate because he has a passion for real estate. And our one-on-one Zooms are just fascinating to me. Christian's a great guy, little bit of an introvert. I'm not telling on him. He knows this about himself, but he is growing rapidly in his ability to communicate with folks, tell his story about being an agent, learning, again, rapidly about being of assistance to people on a broader scale, and is quickly becoming an expert real estate agent. So I'm very proud of Christian, and I wanted to give a shout out to Christian Yarhouse. Well done, Christian.
Justin, who do you have for us?
So today I chose Mohammed Sharif Muhammad as my agent spotlight today. Muhammad is somebody I work really closely with. He's on the AMP team. He's also part of my downline and RevShare, and he's a guy that I admire a lot. We come from very different backgrounds. Sharif is Somali. There's a huge Somali community here in Columbus. I think we're number 2 in the nation next to Minneapolis. So being able to talk with him and learn about a different culture. And he's an entrepreneur. He owns a home healthcare business as well as a successful real estate business. And he's just somebody I admire a lot, and heck of a recruiter, heck of an agent. He's out there getting it. I mean, Mark and I meet with him and talk with him frequently. So shout out to Mohammed Sharif Muhammad for being a great agent, a great person.
Well done.
Very good. Our Agent Spotlight, sponsored by Vault Title. Now it's time we get to a segment that we call Ask the Coach. This is where, as we've mentioned before on many of the episodes previously, and even sometimes we've been live getting calls coming in, you guys are always on standby, not just you guys, but all the other coaches. You get a call coming in, someone has a quick question. Just last week during the show, we had someone, you were talking about contracts earlier, someone going back on the 24-hour window of making those decisions, but you're just readily available. So this segment here has been great in being able to field some questions that might be beneficial to some of you who are out there listening today. Maybe you're experiencing similar things, just to give you a vast bit of knowledge about what these guys help other agents with, and Mike, I'm sure, throughout the week as well. So who wants to go first? What are we talking about? Go ahead, Mark.
One of the things we wanted to discuss this week, James, was communicating with other agents. I mean, every agent has gone through the same school of hard knocks, right? You get your license, you turn around and choose a brokerage. Now what? And we are taught and trained on the Columbus Board of Realtors to be ethical, communicative, be respectful and responsible to not only our clients, but the other agents that are here. So when you're in a transaction, we've been getting a lot of feedback and updates lately from the AMP platform team members. Communication with other agents is key. You make an offer, it's got a duration. You'd love to hear back from the agent, one way or the other. You're on the receiving end of offers. Justin and I were talking about this a couple weeks ago when we went through that period of time where you were getting multiple offers on your listings. And there's different approaches to that. Some agents, announce it on showing time when they're not the chosen agent. But again, just as a quick hint to the agents out there, if I've got 10 offers on a house and we take one of them, of course, that agent is going to be the first one we let know that, their buyers are in contract. but we're going to call the other 9 agents. I'm not saying y'all have to do this, but I'm going to call the other 9 agents and tell them, unfortunately, their buyer was not the one chosen by our seller. Communication is key. Professional communication is key. Answer your phone, answer your emails, answer your texts. Let's communicate with each other. So again, one more time, the people involved in a transaction. You've got a buyer's agent, a seller's agent, buyers and sellers, title people, lenders, home inspectors, appraisers. Communication is key, and we owe it to each other to have a high level of professionalism and communicate with the other agents throughout a transaction, prior to, afterwards. We're all friends here. I'm not, Justin and I and the rest of the agents we're speaking to right now, we're not competing with each other. We're trying to assist folks whose vision is to buy or sell or both their home. So communication is key.
Yeah, the post deal communication is funny. One I've been thinking about a lot lately. I always take the time to send a, no matter how it goes, I always take the time to at least send a text message and say, hey, it's been great working with you. Hope we can do it again in the future.
Yes.
This, that, and the other. Surprising how many agents don't. You close the deal and you never hear from them again. I get it. Everybody's busy, but I try to think about how I would like to be communicated with when I'm in those situations, and I try to. They call that the platinum rule. Instead of the golden rule, it's the platinum rule. Is speaking to others how you wish to be spoken to, and I always take the time to go out of my way to take a second to say, hey, thank you, regardless of how it went.
And think about the potential results of that. You're an agent who communicates well, treats other agents with respect. The next time they see an offer with your name on it or a listing with your name on it, they'll be more likely to want to work with you as well as your client. So do yourself a favor and communicate and be respectful and professional.
Well, and you also might you also might end up on the other end of the situation you were on before, right? If they're a listing agent, you bring an offer and you're kind of crappy about how you go about it. You could have a listing down the road and they might be the buyer's agent on that one. So what goes around comes around.
Mike, anything else you want to add?
Well, I get the complaints whenever agents aren't communicating, so please communicate. And I think the big difference is professional communication. When you say, well, my client's a jerk, and you let that come through in the transaction, it becomes personal for everyone, and more deals fall apart that way.
Justin, what do you have for us today?
Well, a very important aspect of our real estate transactions is the appraisal.
Yes.
There's a lot that can happen with the appraisal. There's a lot that can go right and wrong with it. If you're a newer agent, you haven't dealt with a ton of appraisals. I've got a couple things I wanted to talk about in regards to appraisals. Mike and Mark, if you have anything to add, please do. But appraisals, some of the biggest things that I make agents aware of and my clients aware of is a lot of it depends on what type of financing we're using. Mm-hmm. So, a conventional loan, the appraisal for that is going to be a little bit more laid back, a little bit less strict about the condition of the property. You can be a little bit more relaxed with a conventional appraisal. There's not a whole lot you have to worry about. If the mechanicals are working, the roof's not falling in, and the house is habitable, you're usually not going to have too much issue on the condition. With an FHA, USDA, or VA appraisal, they're a little bit more strict about the condition because it's a federally regulated loan program. So things like stair rails that are missing on steps that have more than 3 steps, not having GFCI outlets within 6 foot of a water source, a sink, or a bathtub, chipped or peeling paint, especially if the house is built before 1978 for lead-based paint issues. These are all things that I make my clients and other agents aware of, that, hey, if this is an FHA deal, these are things that might come up later on, and we should probably be ready to deal with those. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, to put it simply, James, for those that are listening, you're going to get one of 2 appraisals back: at value or made value, and with or without subject tos is what they call them. So it either made the value or it didn't, and it either has things that the appraiser says, look, before I can approve this and you guys can move forward to close, there are some subject to items you need to get squared away. So if you keep it that simple in your head, it either made the value or it didn't, and it's either subject to some things or it's not, you can usually work your way through an appraisal situation. And that's different from an inspection, Justin brought this up earlier. It's one of the key things in our transactions. An appraisal is different than an inspection. It is a secondary inspection, but it's critical. So it's either subject to or it isn't. So we need to get to that it isn't phase.
And when those subject twos come up, my perspective has always been the first line of defense there is the seller. Are they willing to fix those, right?
Yep.
If they're not, maybe it's a multiple offer situation where they've got backup offers sitting there and they don't want to fix it. So in that case, I've been a part of those where I've stepped in to get a contractor for my buyer client to go in and fix those things and get them done. I've had buyers that are handy that have gone out and scraped and painted themselves on some properties with the permission of the seller, of course.
Sure.
So there's always where there's a will, there's a way to get those things done. And also the big part of the appraisal is the value, right? You just talked about it for a second there. You're either going to get it at the contract price, which is what we want. We want it to come in at or above whatever it says on the purchase contract. Because if it comes in at, we're good to go, where we hit it right on the head. If it comes in above, that means our clients have instant equity in that property. If it comes in below, we go back to the negotiating table with the sellers. And Mark, I'd love to hear your perspective. Do you see a trend right now? The past few appraisals I've had have been coming in at or just slightly above on the past two that I've had. We've gone through a really interesting market in 2021, 22. Have you seen a trend or ebbs and flows with how appraisals have been over the years?
Yeah, I've definitely seen the appraisals coming in lower more now than in the last couple of years. And I think that overall the sellers are 6 to 12 months behind the overall real estate market and what the news tells them. So obviously everyone wants to sell for top dollar, but when it comes in low, a lot of the agents don't know what's standard in the Columbus Realtors contract. So you have to make sure you let the other party know, and then you have 5 days to renegotiate, or that buyer's moving forward at the contract price, which doesn't necessarily align with that. And the buyer may have to bring more money out of pocket.
Mark, how do you see those? I'd love to get your perspective on, you've got the buyer, the appraisal has come in low, and what is your next step negotiating wise?
First of all, to talk to my buying client about how they feel about it. If they're willing to move forward under circumstances that are different than our agreed upon sales price, it's a matter of whether or not my buyer has the money or not to cover that difference. And whether they do or they don't, I would typically send an email to the listing agent along with the appraisal, and the subject is always the property address. And I'll say, "Good afternoon, Justin. Attached, please find the appraisal for the property that we're in contract on. It came in below value. Please confirm receipt and next steps." So we're playing cards at that point, right? I'm not trying to give away a bunch of the secrets of the AMP platform, but I hope most agents think this way. You're playing cards. You want to know the stomach that you're dealing with on the other side and whether or not they're going to be cooperative or not. So you're trying to find out from the other players in the room, hey, where do we go from here?
Yeah, and historically, the way that's played out with a lot of the transactions I've done where it's come in low, as we typically find some middle ground, right?
Yeah.
At that point, we're 2.5, 3 weeks into the contract. Everybody's kind of committed that this thing's going to close in the next week or two.
Sure.
So we want to get the deal done, and a lot of times it'll be the case of seller will drop the price. You know, if it's an agreeable enough amount. Let's say it comes in $5,000 low. The seller would typically, hopefully, drop the price about $2,500, and my buying client would have to bring $2,500 extra to the table, as Mike mentioned earlier.
And James, the reason for that is the buyer's lender is not going to give them a mortgage, a loan, that is any more than the appraised price. That's the key, right? So your buyer either has to bring the extra money, or the buyer and the seller have to negotiate it so that the sales price matches up to the appraisal, because unless it's a cash deal, the appraisal rules.
All right, good stuff. If you got questions on any of that or anything that you hear on any of the AMP podcasts, we just encourage you to reach out to Mark and Justin or go to the website, agentmentorship.platform.com. It is episode 9, our final episode of season 1, Home Sweet Home, brought to you by Motto Mortgage, Griffith Insurance Group, Vault Title, and Red One Realty. The AMP podcast is an extension of the AMP platform, which is exclusively available through Red One Realty. On the other side of the break, we've got the Market Pulse and Mindset Matters.
The Griffith Insurance Group. They're more than just a family business. They're your family safety net. With over 34 years of combined experience, Scott and Jason know everyone is different. That's why they take the time to understand individual situations and craft their coverage that gives you peace of mind. Whether it's protecting your home, your vehicle, or your business, they're here to ensure that you're covered. At the Griffith Insurance Group, they're not just a father-son team. They're trusted partners in safeguarding your future. Experience the difference of a family-focused approach. Contact the Griffith Insurance Group today and let them help you secure your tomorrow. 740-936-4686 is the phone number, and online at griffithinsurance.net. That's Griffithinsurance.net.
Red One Realty, an independent brokerage founded in 2019, is redefining what it means to support agents. With nearly 1,000 agents already on board, Red One Realty offers an unbeatable combination of value and opportunity, helping agents close more deals while keeping more of their hard-earned commissions. Red One Realty sets itself apart by its commitment to exceptional training, cutting-edge technology, and unmatched support. From intensive boot camp training to Survive and Thrive training series and the Next Level Agent Mentorship Program, they provide the tools and guidance to help agents grow their business. Plus, with the multiple layers of management always ready to assist, you'll never feel like you're navigating the real estate world alone. Discover why so many agents are choosing Red One Realty to take their career to new heights at joinredonerealty.com. That's joinredonerealty.com.
Hi guys, today's episode is sponsored by Vault Title. At Vault Title, they know your home is more than just four walls. It's your investment, your future, and your dream. With our dedicated team of experts, we provide secure, reliable title and closing services that protect your most valuable asset. From the first handshake to the final signature, Vault Title is here every step of the way, making sure your closing is seamless and stress-free. Vault Title, protecting your dream, safeguarding your future. When it comes to title services, trust that team that puts you first. Vault-title.com. That's VAULT-TITLE.com.
Welcome back to the AMP Podcast, an extension of the AMP platform, exclusively available through Red One Realty. You want more information on that, you just go to the website, agentmentorshipplatform.com. Sponsors of the AMP Podcast, Motto Mortgage, Griffith Insurance Group, Vault Title, and Red One Realty. Our guest today, Mike Hall, one of the owners of Red One Realty, partners with Ken Fairchild. And your host every week on the AMP Podcast, you got Mark Dandrea, the Doctor of Real Estate, Justin Humphreys of Humphreys Homes, and my name is James Minter with Buckeye Media Services. All right, this next segment is called Market Pulse, gives you the interest rates, also let you know kind of the inventory that's going on right now, as well as the average days that a home is on the market. Now, keep in mind, depending on when you're listening to this, this all can change. What I highly recommend is you either reach out to Mark or Justin or the agent that you're working with. They have all the updated information on this at any given moment. But for today, Mike, I'm going to let you kind of guide this segment if you don't mind, sir.
Yeah, as real estate professionals, I feel like all realtors need to know where the market is. And in Columbus, Ohio, you can get a lot of that at columbusrealtors.com and then clicking on statistics to see that. And a lot of the value and the education you provide your clients depends on what you know about the market knowledge. Is it a strong seller's market? Are we transitioning to a buyer's market? How much inventory is out there? So when we take a look today, we're still in a seller's market. It's not as strong as it was. And what we look at is the amount of inventory on the market. And we have more inventory now than we did over the last couple of years. And you'll see things on the news like the market's crashing. Well, the market is not crashing, but, you know, the news sells a little bit of doom and gloom. So right now we have about 3,455 active homes. And when we take a look at the Columbus market overall, we're going to sell about 30,000 homes a year. So when that inventory is considerably less than 8,000 or 9,000, we're going to be in a seller's market. I remember back in May of 2010, which was a bad time for sellers, we had almost 20,000 active listings on the MLS.
Wow.
Just to give you an example. So still a seller's market, but we're seeing a little bit less multiple offers, escalation clauses, as they're sitting on the market just a little bit longer. So our days on market now is up to 36. And at 36 days on market, that's still low when it comes to traditional. So we got down as low as 20 back in the last couple of years. It's up a little bit, and that's okay. I want a win-win for everyone. I don't want the buyer to have to pay money over appraised value. I don't want the home sitting on the market for a year either. So I think at 36, it's still low compared to average. And I think as more inventory hits the market, that we will see that number go up a little bit as well. And overall, we take a look at affordability, and that's the appreciation, that's the interest rates. And we have started seeing interest rates start to creep down. And that's what I think a lot of buyers are sitting on the fence waiting for. So right now, the interest rates are at 6.72. Over the last couple of years, we had lots of people in the 7s and as high as 8s go in. So a great touch point for agents right now is to reach out if they know they have a higher interest rate and put them in touch with a lender to refinance.
Very good, Mike. Thank you for handling that. And again, I just want to remind everybody that all the information that you hear during the Market Pulse, that can change. It's fluid. You want to get the most up-to-date information, certainly talk with your real estate agent, or as Mike alluded to, you can go to columbusrealtor.com and look underneath their statistics section, and I'll have some updated information there. Now, our next segment is called Mindset Matters. Looking at things that are helping you stay focused on helping you to become better at what you do in your job as a real estate pro, as a marketer of real estate services, being mindful about how you handle clients, conversations, even the first time when you first meet somebody, not throwing them a sales pitch or anything like that, but things that you can do to be engaged, genuine, as you look to build and grow your real estate business. The types of stuff that you do before, during, and after a conversation with somebody that you might be meeting at a networking event, or maybe it's an exchange, a couple of conversations in that, again, how are you handling yourself? Are you being genuine? Are you developing that relationship? But how you conduct yourself, your mindset matters. So that's where we are with this segment here. Mark, I'll let you kick things off for us today. What do you got?
James, today we're talking about objections versus projections, and it dovetails nicely with what Mike was talking about earlier. Mike was giving us some of the math behind the market, right? And the math, and he was mentioning sellers markets, buyers markets, and all the noise that's on the internet and on the national media. So what dovetails with that is when you're speaking with folks as it relates to real estate, much of our conversations, and when we get into conversations with people about real estate or about anything, frankly, when you're talking to somebody, you're curious about the other person. You want to give the other person some information, and you also want to get some information. Most of the time when we're talking with other people, especially when it comes to a specific buyer or seller, we as human beings project a lot into that conversation that simply doesn't exist. We're the experts in real estate, so we're sharing information about real estate. And in our minds, we're thinking to ourselves, not rightfully so, I wonder what's going on in their mind. So I would caution agents out there who are becoming experts in real estate to not project anything into the conversation that doesn't exist. Most of the time, it really doesn't. You're having a conversation with somebody where you're curious about their situation. If they've shown interest in buying or selling a home, you certainly want to talk about that. But it's purely about just being yourself. We're all human beings. We have this need and desire to communicate and connect with other people. So I would highly recommend that when you're out there in the real estate world, assisting people with the marketing of real estate services, that you just have conversations about real estate and don't project anything into the conversation that doesn't exist. We're fond, Justin and I talk about this all the time, when we have buyer and seller consultations. We have a very templated approach to that. There are certain things that we want to cover, and it's not a script. It's just a conversation, but it's truly about providing your buyer or your seller with all the information necessary to ensure that the future transaction goes well. And we're fond of asking a question in a different way that it might be asked. Everybody asks questions. So if I'm going to talk to a buyer or seller about a possible transaction, I always want to pause and then ask the question, is there anything that we have not gone over so far that you thought we would? That is a significantly different question than, do you have any questions, Justin? How about, hey, Justin, is there anything we haven't gone over so far that you thought we would? That is a more positive way to keep that conversation moving forward. Continue to be curious about the other person. And again, that kind of answers to the projecting into the conversation things that you might be thinking that the person you're speaking to you has an objection about. It's a good way to get through those kind of things. So there's a difference between projecting something into a conversation and the actual objections that the person you're speaking with has.
It takes me back to a couple of conversations that we've had this year where how important it is just to listen. When you're showing a house, doing a tour, whatever, you're not giving them any opinions about anything you like. It's not going to be your house. So you're listening. It's the house they want to move into, the house they're going to fall in love. Can they come home to it every day and be happy with the house that they're in? So as a real estate professional, as a marketer of real estate services, just to take that step back to listen, to not really engage, or in this case, project your thoughts of any kind. And I know that's addressed through the AMP platform and the training, because we've discussed that multiple times over the past several weeks and several months.
Our agents, this is just the way we feel, and I think it's more real. If we're touring a home, it's not a home that I'm going to fall in love with. I love my home at 4837 Blue Church Road. But if my client loves it, then I'm darn well going to do everything I can to help them get it. But the agent mentorship platform agents don't go in and start to ooh and ah over a home. That's up to our clients to fall in love. So again, that would be projecting into the conversation things that just aren't, they might be important to you, but it's not about you. It's about your client. And one last thing, there are many drivers of the market that exist in our world. It is our job to be there at the time when our buyers and sellers are experiencing one of those drivers, and we've mentioned them earlier, so I don't need to go through them again, so that we're the ones that they choose to assist them. Again, it's not about projecting any of your own personal feelings into a conversation. Just be curious. Talk about anything you want to talk about. Assist people to achieve their vision in real estate.
Well, it's funny because I hear you on Zooms a lot with agents, and that's something that comes up a lot. This is the question. Is this something you're projecting, or do you know that your clients feel this way? And I know, when I was doing a lot of one-on-one Zoom sessions with you, it was something that you would tell me all the time. It's like,
I miss you, Justin.
Are you? we sit right next to each other, so I didn't go that far. But is this something that you're nervous about internally, and then you're projecting it into the conversation? Try to stay away from that.
And Justin, what do you have for us today?
Justin, what are you addressing in our Mindset Matters segment today?
I just wanted to touch on providing value, and it's a kind of a cliche phrase that we use a lot. But when I'm reaching out to agents, buyer, seller clients, investors, anybody that I'm doing business with in any aspect, I don't want it to be a waste of my time or a waste of their time. So in any of those situations, I'm always trying to provide value. Like the annual real estate review I talked about earlier. The value there is the packet of information, giving them the update on their home, letting them know how much equity they have, making them feel good about their investment. There's a value there. I would, sometimes if you're worried about the objections that some buyers and sellers might have about having a conversation with you, if you're providing value, most of the time they're not going to have an objection because they're going to be getting something positive out of it. So just look for creative ways to provide value to people, regardless of who they are or what the situation is.
And there are so many people involved that you can provide value to. I mean, we're fortunate with Red One. We walk out of our office, and to the right is Motto Mortgage, and to the left is Vault Title. And I've heard you do it. I've heard Mike do it. I do it all the time. Walk down to the office and say, "How's it going? How can I help you? Is there anything we're doing that we need to correct or change?" You want to provide value to everyone that's involved in the transaction.
And along those same lines, kind of, we've talked about this a lot as well, being that marketer of real estate services, being that resource to those that might not be looking for a house today, even tomorrow, next month, but 6 months from now, perhaps. But if you just stay top of mind, whether it's the vendors that you have, the people that you know that might be able to help with something that they have an immediate need for, you become of value to them for more than just buying and selling a home or assisting them in finding the home that they want. You're that concierge of services that we've talked about as it relates to anything home, right?
The way we view it is this. I mean, if you have a toothache, who do you think of?
The dentist.
Yeah. If you have an ache or pain you can't get rid of on your own, where do you go?
The doctor.
Yeah. And if your car breaks down and you can't fix it, James, where do you go?
The mechanic.
If you have any question about your home, get a hold of us.
All right, good stuff. Mike, anything else you want to add to Mindset Matters?
Yeah, I've helped a lot of agents get into this business, and the mindset sometimes is construed a little bit by society. Society says things should be easy, things should go perfect, and I think a lot of real estate agents even see it on television shows. They go show 3 homes and make $30,000.
Reality TV is a blast, isn't it?
It's not reality. So we really try to talk about the mindset. And look, we've all had to overcome adversity in all of our lives. And real estate has a large learning curve. You got to get through that. And then it really takes hard work and discipline to build your business. So some people think there's something wrong with them because they have to work hard and have discipline, and they don't automatically make $100,000 their 3rd month in. So making sure that they have that mindset makes a big difference in their overall long-term path to success.
Well said. All right, it's time to land the ship. Do want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors been with us throughout this first season, 9 episodes. Motto Mortgage today, sponsoring our episode of Home Sweet Home. Our seasonal sponsors, Griffith Insurance Group, Vault Title, and of course, Red One Realty. Anything you missed on today's episode or anything you've missed throughout the season, or if you want to find out more information, you can go to the website, agentmentorshipplatform.com. There you can see all the upcoming classes, all the training sessions available through AMP. Also, you can sign up for a free business planning session with Mark Dandrea, the Doctor of Real Estate. And as we talk throughout the season, this is designed for Red One Realty agents and those that are in the business. But if you're looking to get into real estate, or if you're an agent with another broker and maybe considering going over to Red One Realty, just want to encourage you to reach out to both Justin and Mark. They will make themselves available. Glad to sit down, have a conversation with you, see where you are, see what the next step looks like. And if they can help you, they will. I promise. All right, before our final question and our quote, Justin, Mark, you want to give them your contact information?
Justin Humphreys with Humphreys Homes at Red One Realty and the AMP platform. You can find me on social media at Humphreys Homes, and that's Facebook. Instagram is at Humphreys_homes, and you can reach us at agentmentorshipplatform.com if you want to learn more about our platform.
Mark Dandrea, the Doctor of Real Estate, your founder of AMP, 614-395-6275. You can text or call me anytime, or you can email me at drofrealestate1@gmail.com.
It's the AMP Podcast, an extension of the AMP platform exclusively through Red One Realty. Throughout the show today, we talked about our childhood homes, things we did with our neighborhood friends. And in closing, I'd like for us to go around the horn and talk about what our forever home might include. Price is not a factor. What are you going to have in your forever home? Maybe you're already in it, but what is in your forever home that you want to have for those creature comforts? Mark, let's start with you.
You've heard this story before, but my wife and I were living in an apartment in 1989. Yes, I am old. And she came home one day from work, and I was getting ready to go to work. And I said, honey, I'm going to go out and start looking for houses today for us. We'd saved enough money for a down payment. I wasn't saying, hey, I'm going to go find us a house. I wasn't being that dude. But she said, honey, and she looked right at me, Mike, I don't care what we live in. It can be a doghouse, but it's going to be on 5 acres. That was the first time I had heard that. So at any rate, we went out and found our first home. The home we live in now, my wife knows this about me. I love ranches. I like the elevation of ranches. I like how sprawling they feel and look. So that might be the only regret for the home that we live in now. We did build a first floor master home. So it is our forever home. Changes, I would have put a bathroom in our basement. Never did. My wife asked me, she said, you don't want to put a rough in down there just in case in the future we finish that? I said, no, we'll be all right. We'll just go upstairs. I've regretted it ever since because our son and all his buddies would come over and I don't know if I can even say this on the air, but they would certainly they wouldn't come upstairs. They would their bottles of Gatorade and things would not be the same in the morning. So I wish I had a bathroom in my finished basement.
Justin.
Well, right now, I really like our house. We live in Amherst Village in Westerville, and our neighborhood now is a lot like the neighborhood I grew up in, where all the kids play together, parents look out for each other. But we do plan to build what may be our forever home. We love Delaware, we love Sunbury, somewhere up north in those areas. We're planning to build within the next 3 to 4 years, and something that I'll make as a requirement in the house is that we have an area where we can have a nice finished basement, where I would love to make a home theater set up. So that'll be it.
Now, Mike, you just built a house, right?
We just built our dream home. On top of that, I've been in real estate 19 years. I've seen hundreds, if not thousands, of new builds, and we had to wait 6 months until they opened the lot. So we had ample time to plan, and I want to tell you, there is no perfect home.
So now that you're in, there's something
I've been
else
in
that
his
you're
house.
wanting?
It's pretty perfect.
Yeah, so I'm in there. I think I have everything I want. I go over to a friend's house, and he has a higher ceiling in his garage, and he could put a golf simulator in there. And I'm like, I want one.
I want that.
Justin, I'm on the same page as you. I want a home theater system, 12 seats, surround sound built into the wall. We went on a trip down to Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, and we got upgraded to a really nice cabin. And in this basement, there was like a 16-person theater with probably a 12-foot by 8-foot or a 12 by 10 screen. It was huge for a house basement theater system, but built into the walls around you was the sound system. And I was like, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to put in my forever home for sure. Outside of that, I'd probably put in, one of my sound booths so I didn't have to go into the office to do work. I could just go down in my basement and knock out a couple of hours of audio production. But that's what I would like.
Two home theaters, a golf simulator, and all I want is a bathroom.
You're a simple, easy to please, Mark.
Yeah, man.
And that will close out episode 9, Home Sweet Home, episode 1 of the AMP podcast. Special thanks to our sponsors. This week we had Motto Mortgage, but throughout the year we've had Griffith Insurance Group, Vault Title, and Red One Realty. Don't forget to check out the website, agentmentorshipplatform.com. Mike, thank you so much for being our guest today on this final episode of Season 1. And for our closing quote for this episode, Mark, throughout the year we've been talking about people, faith, and family, and work-life balance. You've always talked about, having everybody has faith in something, either themselves or a higher being. And those words rang out when I came across this quote. Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. Anybody got a guess as to who said that?
Say that again.
Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it.
Tony Robbins.
Nope, not this one. It's Maya Angelou.
Yeah, Maya Angelou. Great artist.
Yeah, she's a singer, yeah. And just real quickly, Mark and James and I want to thank everybody if you're listening. It's been a blast. Season 1 of the podcast has been great. I want to give a special shout out to our guest today, Mike Hall, our principal broker with Red One Realty. All the wonderful guests we've had this season, and we look forward to doing it a lot more next season as well. It's been a real pleasure spending the time with you guys.
Ditto. Until next time.
See ya.
See ya.